Hello, hello. This is Irene with SaugaTalks. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening and watching and following and commenting and subscribing. I need more of those. All right. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, all I need is to ask for thumb up. It's very important for algorithm to pick up on videos and to make this conversation available to broader audience. So please, thank you for all your support of SaugaTalks. We're discussing amazing, interesting trends and technology here every week with amazing leaders who are very, very generous with their time and their energy. Today, I'm extremely privileged. JT Giri is with me today. Hello, JT. How are you?
Hi, Irene. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing exceptionally well. And you know what? We're here to discuss FinOps. Let's spell out, for those who new to this discipline, to me, it's extremely exciting. It is financial management practice blending with DevOps. That's where name is coming from, right? And it's all about cloud optimization and benefits for the business as well as engineering. So why don't we listen out why FinOps, JT, why you do what you do?
Yeah, so maybe I'll take a step back and just talk a little bit about my background. So, I was migrating companies to AWS when EC2 was in beta. And, in the beginning, we had very few servers. I remember at that time, Amazon had like, EC2 and one other service. Now, fast forward, AWS has 150 services, and all of them, like, you know, you get billed some at different sort of dimensions, some for usage, some for hourly, and with per second resolution. So it's very complex. And then on top of that, you can have multiple teams provisioning resources in cloud, right? So you have people like engineers who end up doing majority of the provisioning of cloud infrastructure, and they never really see the bill. They never really have to pay the bill because it's fully streamlined. They can provision all the resources. That's why you get all this innovation, because you're not waiting for the resources. And then you have finance and procurement teams. They cannot make sense of the bill, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's very complex. You have a lot of different services, different dimensions, and it's getting billed at like every per second resolution. And it's just very hard for the business folks to kind of make sense and kind of come to a conclusion on how does that relate to the business value. So, FinOps is a principle at core is just really trying to bring in a culture, build a culture where everyone is taking accountability for their cloud spend, and teams are speaking with each other, right? Finance teams and the engineers are collaborating with each other, because end of the day, right? Why do you build infrastructure? Why do you move to cloud? Is to drive innovation. At the core, you're always trying to deliver value to your customers. So FinOps is the best way. It really provides you a framework that you can use it to operationalize that kind of culture in your organization.
Absolutely, and it's extremely important to hear the relatable story, GT, that brought you into this field. So why don't we, before we get into adoption, because any transformation, any business initiative needs adoption framework, needs approach, needs the right team, all that. Before we get into some details, could you maybe spell out some benefits? You mentioned a few, right? But both business side, engineering side, all the ecosystem, why people need to know more about FinOps today.
I think what we're seeing right now, especially as just just what's happening in the market, a lot of companies are trying to optimize their spend, and cloud spend is pretty high up there, as far as the overall, uh, you know, the costs on the P&L. So there's a lot of interest from a lot of organizations to optimize their cloud spend and make sure it's aligned with their business needs, right? I think it's important to understand that the business needs, business requirements change all the time, and cloud infrastructure needs to adopt to kind of match the business requirements. And so, I think this is one of the reasons, right? It's a primary driver that we're seeing in the market right now. And once you are able to kind of bring in this FinOps culture, and how once you can operationalize it, now all of a sudden, engineers all of a sudden are working on optimizing the spend, and finance teams, everyone is working together towards the same goal, to see how they can align the infrastructure with the business needs.